This week, Designing Minds features the last of 3 episodes on world-renowned graphic artist Stefan Sagmeister. Today, Sagmeister continues to delight audiences with exhibits as diverse as giant banana walls, personal diary entries, and interactive spiderwebs. A true believer in community, Sagmeister often collaborates with fellow design leaders and young artists alike.
Hi, I'm Stefan Sagmeister. I'm a graphic designer and I'm on Designing Minds. If your desire is to communicate with a person, to have that person interact with you in any shape or form, is the first step. So we've applied that throughout. Since over the last 20 years, always with good results. Be it a postcard that would open up into a sundial, or a record cover where you needed to decode the language on it using the CD itself. We've always gotten good feedback on that, and good results. In the show at Deutsch Projects that we had up in February, there were a couple of pieces where that was the desire. We had a projection up that sees the viewer and reacts to the viewer. So if a viewer would walk by this projected spiderweb, you couldn't help but rip the spiderweb and then watch it rebuilding itself just like a spider would. It's a very basic setup. This is an iMac, a regular camera, and a very simple projector. The software, however, is much more complex. Ralph wrote a program that would create a force field around the difference where the program sees a contrast, and wherever the force field interacts with the radial lines, it touches each other and you see the interaction. I am neither nostalgic for previous times when everything was handmade, nor did we do any piece since a decade or more that wasn't touched by the computer. We had a wall of bananas. There were roughly 8,000 bananas on the wall of different ripeness. So some were greener than others, and the greener ones, and on a background of more yellow ones, spelled out self-confidence produces fine results. They were quoting the famous Andy Warhol cover for Velvet Underground. And then as the bananas went through the ripening process, that self-confidence went away, almost came back again. There were times when the wall was more self-confident than others, and went through the whole cycle until the whole wall was brown. I really think it was one of the more successful pieces that I was involved in. In our testing, we found out that as it ripens, if displayed properly, it never really goes bad, as in it doesn't really start to go foul or vinegary, but really gives off over the entire 4 weeks an intense banana aroma. Everybody who opened their doors sort of again, smells like bananas in here. And you couldn't see the bananas yet, so there was a payoff about it. And I found that the mood in the gallery was exceptionally good, was clearly influenced by the work. And I would say that the banana wall was probably foremost responsible in the creation of that good mood. And the fact that what was largely static pieces, with the exception of the interaction with the interactive spiderweb and the 2 videos, but basically it was a show. And that you could, with largely static pieces, lift the mood of 2 rooms. So that was satisfying to see. We had a piece in the window, because the gallery is a storefront, where we invited various New York designers to write into the fogged up window. We had a platform in there with steam coming out from underneath the platform, so it was permanently steamed up. Everybody I asked said yes. So we had, you know, all these icons, Milton Glaser, Massimo Minelli, all came down to write into something that's that ephemeral and that fleeting. Some of these things were really beautiful, and to see the variety of the scene. You know, we had Paul Sayer did super exact versions of a complete typeface in the window. Massimo Vignelli, of course, did a 3-column grid. Many were much more freeform. Chili did body prints. He was like in there in his shorts. So with such a tight brief, you know, only one material, it's going to go away after 20 minutes. I mean, the limitations were very, very tight of what you could do. You still got an incredible spectrum, which, of course, is part of why I like so much to be a designer. I think it's a great language. I mean, the end goal, of course, is to communicate something. I think that when you do an interaction that then goes nowhere, that has no bearing with the content or doesn't really matter in what you have to say, but when you're employing it as a lead-in to something that you have to say, it goes a little bit beyond that. The highest achievement in our profession is that we can pull off something good for a lot of people. The possibility that we can talk to a large group of people at the same time is magnificent.